if you can look at things that have less ingredients and ingredients that you actually can understand, that tends to be better for the environment. But there are always new things getting developed, and I think all of us just kind of questioning a little bit more might help some of the manufacturers to really let us know what's in these.
Welcome to the Home Comfort Zone podcast. I'm Theresa, Marketing Manager at All Comfort Services. Today, I'm welcoming Kathy Lake from the Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District, and she is the Pollution Prevention Manager there. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Theresa. It's really nice to be here.
Great. And we brought Kathy today because we want to share information for our customers, businesses, Madison and beyond about Madison water. What are some of the biggest sources of pollution that end up in our wastewater system from everyday households?
I'm glad you asked. We overlap a lot with a lot of the things that you do here at All Comfort. Every day we use water. Every one of us uses water in so many different ways. And a lot of times we don't think about where it goes. But all that water we use in this greater Madison area, like 24 communities in this area, goes down the drain and goes down the toilet, and it comes through pipes and it comes to our plant. Some of the pollution that we see, and the majority of the pollution we see, is what comes through our human bodies. So we see what comes through human bodies, water, toilet paper, sometimes some other things get in there.
Diapers, and I know I see some of your social media posts, and I see every now and then the technicians are unclogging different devices that they're finding those cleaning wipes and different things that people think they can put down the drains, and there's big balls of that collecting.
Yeah, so everything goes somewhere. So if we think of toilet paper, when we put it in water and it breaks up pretty quickly. But when we use like a Kleenex or a paper towel or a wipe, they're engineered to kind of stay together in water, and they don't fall apart. And I think your plumbers probably see it in home plumbing, in laterals. We see it in the sewers. There isn't really labeling requirements on flushability. So people can say whatever they want, and it might flush through your toilet, but it will likely get stuck somewhere. If it doesn't get stuck in the toilet, it might get stuck in the pipe. It might get stuck in a manhole or a valve or our pumps. If it happens to get all the way to the treatment plant, we screen it out and we put it in a dumpster and we send it to the landfill. So we really ask people to just flush toilet paper, what comes out of their body, and that's it. Everything else, just save that energy, save that cost, and put it right in the trash, and it can go right to the landfill.
What type of volume does the district serve?
So we get about 40 million gallons a day of water on average every day. So it's about enough water to fill up Camp Randall about halfway each day.
What are a few common products people use at home that they may not realize that are harmful to the sewer system and the environment?
Yeah, so I think everything that we eat, drink, take, use, potentially wash off may come to the wastewater plant. Our plant is designed to handle human waste, and it does a remarkable job. Our plant does a remarkable job of removing contaminants and creating really healthy, fresh river water, healthy fertilizer for local farm fields. We also are able to generate biogas to help power our plant. There are a lot of products that each of us use that we don't really fully understand. And I think we look at some of the things we put on our faces, on our hands, the types of clothing we have, all of that gets washed somewhere and it's going somewhere. So I think at the treatment plant, we're getting a little bit from a lot of people of different things. One of the constituents that is the most problematic to us right now at the plant is something that we all use every day, and that's salt. We get about 200,000 pounds of salt every single day at the wastewater plant, and it comes from a variety of sources. I think one of the ways we overlap a lot with All Comfort is in the fact that we're all working to operate water softening systems as efficiently as possible. So trying to get water softeners, if they're in use, to soften the water that needs to be softened, not over softened. Make sure that if we have a system in our house that it's as efficient as possible. If it's over 15 years old, that it's replaced. If it's using more than like 4 to 6 bags a year, let's get it replaced, because each bag of salt that you put into a water softener is ending up in a freshwater stream. And we are really lucky around here to have fresh water. And we're making that fresh water too salty for some of the organisms that live in there. And that those organisms that live in there are the pride and joy of us living in Wisconsin. We have healthy freshwater streams with healthy freshwater fish. We like our Friday night fish fries. We like having these natural resources, and we all have the ability to protect them.
So it sounds like it's really a call for all of us to pay attention to what's going on, to learn what you're talking about. We don't often think about that would we go without something because of something we're doing that we don't realize we're harming something.
And there's a lot of really easy ways to right size how much we're using. It's not that we're trying to get rid of all. We want to right size what we're using. We can each make small reductions, and that can go a long way. We have over 400,000 people that water is coming to our plant. So if each of us does a little bit different, we can really make a big difference.
So it's identifying those sources. So we've already talked about homes and how we can have a reduction of salt in our homes as a homeowner just by taking a look at the salt use with our water softeners. What are some other sources of pollution that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different constituents that we know of. So we, as a wastewater plant, are permitted under the Clean Water Act. So we have a permit. We get it through our Department of Natural Resources, and that permit gives us limits and requirements for different parameters. We already talked about salt. Salt is one that we are unable to meet currently, and that's why we're working upstream through the community to reduce the amount that's coming into the water so that we can meet our requirement without causing rates to significantly increase in the region. We looked at what it would take. We had a consultant look at what it would take to put treatment at our plant to remove that salt. And 10 years ago, those numbers were over $500 million. And that our district, our wastewater plant, is funded by all the ratepayers, all the people that are connected to our sewer system. So on the low end, it was 500 million, and the higher end, it was over 2 billion. And the difference between that was what do you do with that salt that you take back out of the water? So we're putting it in, and then if we try to take it out on the back end, what do you do with it? And if we go to the level of removing, we're doing like a microfiltration or electrodialysis reversal. We're getting not just the salt out of the water, but a lot of other dissolved solids. So a lot of the personal care products we have, a lot of pharmaceuticals, a lot of other things are all mixed in with that salt at that point. So how do you reuse something like that? So that was really expanding the costs. There's a lot of other parameters that are dissolved or in very, very minute doses in the wastewater. I think some of the ones that we know that a lot of us take vitamins, pharmaceuticals, and other things. All of that is going somewhere. So we're using it in our bodies. It's coming to the wastewater plant. It transforms over time. So I think we work with people to make sure they're using what they need, not more than they need. If they have extra, they have expired pharmaceuticals. We're really lucky in this area to have MedDrop boxes where you can take medicines and just go in the door, dispose of them. Some of our pharmacists and pharmacies in the area take back medicines. There are also things that potentially could be, that we have in our homes that are potentially hazardous waste. And we also are really lucky in this region to have Clean Sweep. So Clean Sweep is at the Dane County landfill, and you can bring household hazardous wastes, other materials you have to the landfill. They take it at Clean Sweep. They also have this really cool exchange program. If you just have used a little bit of something, like maybe like a jewelry cleaner or something, and there's still a lot left, they'll put it on a shelf, and then if somebody else wants it, they can come and take it. One thing we really don't want to go down the drain would be things like oils and greases. So if you happen to, when you're cooking, when you're done cooking, we really request that you clean out your pans, put those paper towels directly into the trash. If you have liquid oils, you can put those in a container, you can reuse them, or there are some places that will take those back as well. But really trying to keep those out of the plumbing system is really important.
Tell me about road salt.
Yeah, so in Madison, our wastewater plant should be a sanitary-only sewer system. So we should only get what comes through our homes and businesses. But we do know that there are cracks in manholes and open casting holes and castings. And we do see inflow of rainwater into our sewer system. And in times when there is road salt on the roads, we can see more salt coming to our plant. And those spikes actually cause us to exceed our permit limits. So we've worked really hard over the entire time I've been at the district to change the norms around road salting as well. And we've seen really significant changes. 10 years ago, you didn't see a lot of liquids in the region, like anti-icing the lines on the roads. And now that's some places in the state, that is all the anti-icing they're using. And when people are using that anti-icing or that the brine anti-icing type materials, they're actually able to use 60 to 70% less salt. And we look at 1 teaspoon of salt permanently making 5 gallons of fresh water uninhabitable for organisms. We can reduce 60 to 70% of how much we're using. That's really a game changer.
That's great. Tell me about pet waste. I know that some of the products that you can purchase can clump, and they say you can put it down your toilet.
Yeah, so that's actually a question we get a lot, and I'm glad you asked. There are different types of pets. So the one you're talking about is a lot of cats and things like that. So we actually have gone back and forth with public health and others on that question. And what we found was that cats can tend to have a cyst, toxoplasmosis cyst, that's harmful in fresh water. It doesn't get taken out in our plant, our wastewater plant. We don't want cat waste in the sewer system. It's best to go to the landfill. The landfill said they can handle it. And that's in the recyclopedia in the region. There also are things like dog poop bags that are labeled as flushable. But there is no labeling requirement for what is flushable and what isn't flushable. Please don't flush wastewater or flush dog poop bags down the toilet. They just clog up somewhere. A lot of times it's your own sewer, your own toilet, your trap in your sewer system, and you're going to have a plumber come out and fix it. If not, it's going to get stuck somewhere else in our sewer system.
That's really helpful to know. Why is pollution prevention a more cost-effective and sustainable solution than treatment after the fact?
Pollution prevention is each of us trying to do a little bit better so that we can keep things out of the water that are really hard, sometimes impossible, sometimes really expensive, sometimes really energy intense to get back out of the water. Pollution prevention can save us energy, can save maintenance, can help our systems work better, and it can be really sustainable for the future. And a lot of it is just, once we know something, we can do just a little bit better.
So tell me about the technical aspect of the sewage plant. How is it able to know the amount of the things that are going in the water and then what you're releasing? And then how do you know, like it flags, the system flags and says, we've reached capacity, we can no longer be putting these things into the lakes and streams?
Oh, well, first we have a tour program at the district, and we would love anybody to come out. There's the first Friday of every month. We have a tour at noon. You can sign up on our website. Otherwise, we take groups through all the time, and you can come learn all about the treatment process. We have over 120 people that work at the plant in all different jobs. We have, in addition to the one large wastewater plant we have over 170 miles of sewers. We have major pumping stations. We maintain pumping stations for some of our 24 customer communities. Once the water gets to our plant, it gets screened, and then it goes through treatment processes that mimic nature. So the first treatment process just is tanks where we let whatever will float, whatever will sink, and we'll take that and we'll make fertilizer out of it. And then we use microorganisms in our second stage to further treat the water and remove nutrients and some of the oxygen demand, so some of the nutrients and pathogens in the water. The final step after we separate those microorganisms from our clean river water is to disinfect it with ultraviolet light. And that ultraviolet light is just like really intense sunlight, and it just changes the DNA enough where those microorganisms or those bacteria can't replicate and make us sick. So we're able to return that water safely to the environment and also return the fertilizer safely to the environment.
So there are all kinds of methods that you incorporate into the process, and you have devices that can identify some of these pathogens and things that are going to be harmful.
Yeah, so we have a fully functioning lab and 8 chemists that run thousands of tests every week. We do tests on the water in the communities, we do tests on the water that gets to us, and at different steps in the process, and we're able to run a whole variety of parameters from plate counts on bacteria to metals, salts, nutrients, oxygen demand. We're also able to have sensors throughout the plant that can tell what is going on at different points. We also are really make sure that the water that is leaving our plant is very, very high quality river water. So we do chemical tests. We're doing the chemistry to make sure that we know what's in it, but we also do a variety of other tests. We go out in the stream and we, once a year, we test to make sure that the fish in the stream are healthy, the bugs in the stream are healthy. We also do samples down the river, and we also have tests where we have organisms living completely in that effluent, and we check how fast they grow and how long they live to make sure that that's healthy for them.
And then big picture, what is the timeline for, in the foreseeable future, do you see going the direction of having those desalination devices? What do we have to look forward to as far as, is that something in the foreseeable future, or what are you trying to stem it back, you know?
Yeah, so we're working very hard to keep enough salt out of our system that we can keep our freshwater fresh, we can meet our permit requirements, and we can keep our operations moving as they are. We don't want to go to the level of desalination, but in order to do that, we need everybody's help. We need everyone to look at how they're using salt in their lives. If they have a water softener, we want them to call someone to come and look at it. If they're able to put a blending valve in, or a more efficient softener, or even optimize the softener that they have, make sure that it's set right. Those are all really, really important things.
And so what are some things that businesses can do to prevent some of these things going into the waste stream?
Yeah, so in addition to all the residences we also have a lot of businesses, campuses in the area, and they're all using water in different ways. We do have an industrial pretreatment program where we work with some of the industries. We know that a lot of the food service industries have grease traps. Those grease traps, making sure that they're cleaned out and that people are maintaining them, that the uses of oils and grease, any potential uses are routed to those grease traps is really, really important. Because when something goes down the drain and it causes a problem, we actually have to have people go out and go down into the sewer system to fix these things. So if we can stop getting it in there, it's really important.
Great. If someone is inspired by this episode, what's one small step that they can take today to help prevent pollution?
I think one thing that each of us can do is try to use just a little less of something. So if we use a little less water, we're saving energy because we're not pumping that drinking water out of the ground. We're not pumping it to the wastewater plant. We're not pumping it through. We're not pumping air into it, clean it, and we're not sending it far away. If we can use a little less of detergents and chemicals and other things in our daily lives, we're keeping that water just a little bit cleaner. And if you can work on optimizing how you're using salt, that is something that could really benefit our fresh water.
And one last question, how can listeners how can they get involved in the district's pollution prevention efforts?
Well, we would love to have you come out for a tour of our plant. We also have a cool partnership right now going with the Madison Public Market, where we're working on a PSA, PEESA, and there will be educational messages in all the bathrooms that have to do with the wastewater plant, and then the can, how you can help protect fresh water. So kind of visiting that once that's open later this year. Another way you can really help with preventing pollution is to really know what's in some of the things that you're using. What kind of detergents are you using? What are some of the ingredients? What are some of the types of coatings that are on things, the types of coatings you have? Just learning a little bit more about the products that you use and trying to pick products that are potentially healthier for the environment.
So there was a time when this was promoted in the news about laundry detergent and dish soap and those types of things having some chemicals in there, and now you can buy products in any store that have different things taken out. It says no phthalates, maybe some of the things that you don't want on your skin. But what are the harmful things that we should look for as a consumer? What are some things on the label that we should look for to not include in our wash?
As consumers, it's really, really hard. It's hard for all of us because there are people creating things day in and day out, and they're not letting us know what happens to them in the next iteration and what really even are part of these things. So you mentioned some of the pieces of the puzzle. We saw, like at the wastewater plant, when phosphates were taken out of detergents, we saw a huge decrease in the amount of phosphorus that we were getting at the plant. It was significant, like a third to more or less phosphorus coming to our plant. It was amazing. So we know that pollution prevention works. We know that if you can look at things that have less ingredients and ingredients that you actually can understand, that tends to be better for the environment. But there are always new things getting developed, and I think all of us just kind of questioning a little bit more might help some of the manufacturers to really let us know what's in these, because I think we all hear words like PFAS and other things, and the scariest thing to me is that we hear these things and we look at, so we use them, we put them on our face, we wear clothes with them, we breathe that, and we don't really think about it. And then it gets into our water because we wash it off, and it comes to the wastewater plant, and then we worry about it. But it's already been on our skin and in our bodies.
Right.
So how, thinking first about what is it that I'm using, what is it that I'm doing, and how can I kind of reduce these substances in my own life? Because when we're using them, they're going somewhere. If they're not getting washed off and going to the treatment plant, they're coming off in our homes and other ways in our environment. So
it starts with us, and our system is mirroring the system that we're using every day. So so that's really what's happening. So it sounds like it's an inside job all along.
We all have the ability to really do just a little bit differently.
Thank you for coming out and talking to us today.
Thank you for having me. It's very interesting. I really enjoy this, so thank you.